Welcome to the Parish the Thought Show. The opinions of Brian, your host, and his guests have not been sanitized or scientifically tested, so please consume at your own risk. Now, here's Brian.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and whoever else is listening, welcome back to the show. It's been a minute, and I have a live in-studio guest today for the first time in forever. Christopher Williams, a family nurse practitioner and founder of Revive Hormone Health. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It's good to have you here. So, I don't know a lot about hormone health, so why don't you give us a little background into your history? Like, why this? What brought you to here? Why are you in my studio today?
Okay. Well,
deep dive.
Yeah.
Go far back as you want. Why this? Why this kind of medical type stuff?
I've been involved in medicine in one way or another probably since I was right out of high school. Since I was 18, I wanted to be a police officer initially, but thought, the best way to become a police officer is go and get medically trained so I can get higher up on the hiring list. I went and became an emergency medical technician, and I found that during that process that I really wanted to help people, and that medicine was actually a better way of helping people than, locking them up. So I kind of went down the medical route and was searching that direction to see what I can do to help people and make a difference in people's lives for the better. Through that process, I went and became a hospital corpsman in the Navy.
What's a corpsman?
A hospital corpsman?
Yeah, a hospital corpsman. I know what a hospital is. I don't know what a corpsman is.
Okay. They're basically a medic for the military. Okay. They're enlisted medic support, and they typically will work with the Marine Corps or with the Navy specifically. And so I did that for 8 years. Loved doing that. Found through that process that I wanted to become a registered nurse because, again, I was looking to help people and went that route. I worked in emergency medicine for a number of years and then went back to school to become a nurse practitioner. But even as a nurse practitioner working in family practice, I found that I was often treating these different symptoms or problems that people were having, but not necessarily getting to the root cause of what their problems were. And so I went back to the drawing board and studied more, went back to school and learned as much as I could, and found that the big thing that was being underdiagnosed, especially in women, was hormonal imbalance, that we weren't treating it appropriately. Oftentimes we'd get these lab results back in the clinic on these patients, and I was just to blame. I would give these results to the patient and say, yeah, you're normal. Everything's normal. And yet the patient would say, but I don't feel normal. I'm tired all the time. I just don't have the energy like I used to. Whatever that was, I just don't feel the same. I don't feel like I should. And so that's where it kind of led me into this hormonal study, wanting to find out what I could do to make a difference. And yeah, that's what brought me to where I am now. I did family practice, continue to try and do hormonal balancing in family practice, but oftentimes the doctors that I worked with just didn't understand it, and oftentimes got my hand slapped, saying that I'm not following policy, not following what they consider to be normal for these patients. But patients didn't want it normal. They wanted to feel better.
What is normal?
Right. That's a great question. What is normal?
What did they consider that, or what were you seeing as quote unquote normal?
Well, normal, according to the typical doctor, is your labs are all fine and within standard ranges. For instance, testosterone. Testosterone's a huge one, right? A woman could have a testosterone of pretty much 0, and they would consider that to be normal. Because you're a woman, you shouldn't be having testosterone. That's a man hormone. And that's just absolutely false. Women
and these doctors, do you think they just didn't know it or just didn't care?
Well, a lot of them were trained a certain way. In medical school, they oftentimes are told and taught that all hormones are evil and that they can cause cancer.
Hormones are evil? That's taught?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There was a big research study that was done by the World Health Organization a number of years back, and they basically, it was a flawed study to begin with, but they showed that there was a potential risk in their studies of causing breast cancer in women. Well, it was like basically one person through the whole study or very few, if any, that showed a potential increased risk. And it was using specific medications. It was using basically a methylprogesterone and Premarin. Basically, they were using estrogen made from a horse's urine, along with this methylprogesterone, which was synthetic, together. And yes, there was a slight potential risk in cancer. But what happened is the news media got a hold of that and just blew it out of proportion. Just huge. It was just huge. It made such a huge impact, even to this day, where doctors are told that it causes cancer and to steer away from it and not even mess with it.
Yeah, so your brain just goes in all sorts of conspiracy theory directions with, my wife and I just did a podcast for her residential treatment center. They do a podcast, and there was a doctor on there Family Nurse Practitioner, who's talked about the system is designed to give them a Band-Aid and give them a pill, not actually heal them. It's funny, it's called the healthcare system, but it's not so much. It's sort of a sick care system.
Exactly.
Because there's, follow the money, and the insurance companies is that your experience too? The insurance companies decide
absolutely
how someone gets quote unquote healed.
Absolutely. A common case we see is where somebody comes in and they're considered type 2 diabetic. So their A1Cs, hemoglobin A1Cs come back elevated, and they're considered a diabetic. Okay. Their labs are otherwise pretty normal as far as like liver and kidney function and everything else is doing pretty good. But yet we still are mandated based on insurance to start these patients on cholesterol lowering medications, even though their cholesterol could be completely normal. And yet we're still told that we have to put them on these cholesterol lowering medications, statins. And what do statins do? Well, yeah, they can definitely lower cholesterol, but if you don't need it, then why?
Yeah, what's it doing if you don't need it? What's it doing still?
What it is doing, what we're finding that it is doing is it's causing liver issues. It's causing potential liver damage. And it's getting them stuck in this repetitive diabetic state to where they can never reverse it. They can never come out of being type 2 diabetic. It's causing them to be insulin resistant and not be able to lower their A1Cs. So you could try all day, every day to lower the blood sugar down and get these people ideally to reverse their diabetes, but it's not happening because of this other medication that we're mandated to put them on.
That's scary.
It's very scary.
And like in terms of like the general population, I mean, how many percentage wise are people getting this quote unquote treatment?
Right. And that's just one example, right? There's so many other medications that we're being told that we have to put these patients on. Well, why?
Well, when you ask that, what happened? Can you, who do you ask? Or can you, or do you just get shut down?
You get shut down.
By insurance.
By insurance. Oh, yeah. If you question it too much,
you're a threat.
You're a threat, and they'll drop you. And so a lot of times the clinics, if you're working in a clinic like I was, you'll continue to get your hands slapped, and they'll potentially even let you go. Now, I wasn't let go, but yeah, I got my hand slapped a few times because I refused to follow the mainstream thought process on that.
And so did you have conversations with these other physicians did you say, hey, what we're doing here is not, I mean, how those, were they open to hearing, or no, they're bought into the system and they've got their thing, they got their gig.
Right. And they're stuck in this one way of thinking that it's
they're
the way
just
it
trained
is.
that way, so they believe that it's right. They're not it's not like they're willingly being a part of a conspiracy. They just think that's the best way.
Exactly.
It's frightening, really.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking medications, and follow the money. And I think there was recent episodes of or stories about The Simpsons and other cartoons from 20 years ago. They're talking about, well, if a sick person is, you just charge them to keep them, charge them to keep them well, rather than you don't cure them. You charge them for treatment. And I've had this theory about cancer for 30 years. My theory was that there's probably a cure, maybe for some cancers, I don't know if all, but there's so much money being made in treatment and research that someone's not revealing that. And if someone gets close to that, then, I know it's conspiracy theory type movie thinking, but they disappear. Follow the money.
I could believe that.
It's sad.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It's all right. It's all right. So tell me, so how long now have you been doing the hormone focused? I know you recently started your own business in this, but how long have you been focused on the hormone?
So I started taking a deeper dive into that about 6 years ago. I started incorporating it. Well, I started going to training and learning what I could on that way. Went through an advanced certification process through one methodology. There's a few different methodologies out there on how to do hormones. But yeah, I went through one particular one, learned everything that I could out of that, and then have been able to learn from others and see what works and what doesn't with the patients, and being able to apply the principles and teachings to these people, and seeing the difference has been huge. I've had patients now since leaving that particular practice and going to another one and practicing in hormones. I've had patients that get fed up dealing with the providers at that past clinic and tracked me down because they wanted to receive the same level of care. Yeah,
they don't want to keep like going to therapy forever and ever and ever and never getting better. It's the same with medical. I don't want to keep doing this tap dance.
Right.
And one medication, then you got to take another one to counteract the crap of that. And I don't take a lot of medications. And the times I have, I just hated it. Some of my family members take 5-6 medications a day just to function. And it's
right.
Part of me wonders, if some of those were removed, would they be better? I don't know.
Well, I mean, there is definitely a need for certain medications, right?
Every form of healing has its place, I believe.
Exactly. I mean, there's definitely, if you have extremely high blood pressure, you need to be on a medication.
Yeah.
You can't just eat your way out of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose you could if you lose significant amount of weight, which that is one of the things I did. I was on blood pressure medication. My blood pressure had skyrocketed. I had extremely high blood pressure, thinking I was going to have a stroke one time. And I at that point, I made a decision. This was just a couple of years ago. I made a decision to make a life change, and I did. I lost a significant amount of weight. I lost over 100 pounds. And by doing that, I'm no longer on blood pressure medication. There's definitely hope. You just got to make it happen.
Did you do any hormone stuff, or was just you getting physically active and taking control over your health that way?
That's a great question. I think there's again, good reasoning for medications at certain points in your life. And that was one of them because I had to make a difference right then and then at that time. And so, yes, I started a medication. I started one of these GLP-1s that are popular right now.
What's that?
Well, at the time I tried semaglutide. Semaglutide is a popular, otherwise branded as Ozempic. And I did that. I went all the way up to the high-end dosage, didn't lose a single pound, had lots of side effects, did not work well for me. So I went on to the higher one, higher grade, called tirzepatide, or Mounjaro is the branded. And it was a success for me. And I've treated hundreds of patients that have done very well on semaglutide versus tirzepatide. But I was one of those handful that just didn't do anything for me on the semaglutide. But with the tirzepatide, I've managed to lose it all. I mean, lose 100 plus pounds. And it took more than that, though. Obviously, I was in the gym. I was more obviously having that on board, and then also addressing my testosterone levels, which were extremely low. I was able to get more energy and feel like I was protecting my muscle. And I was in the gym 5-6 days a week.
Putting in the work. That's good math and always works, I think.
Yeah. You can't just do one without the other. I mean, yeah, sure, you can get on the medication and lose the weight, but what's going to happen when you come off the medicine? You're going to gain it all right back. And yeah, I've been off the medication now, and I'm doing fabulous. I'm still in the gym 6 days a week, doing my time, and I love it.
Well, and now it sort of becomes an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working out off and on for 30 years, and if I stop, then everything that I've built up is just going to start flapping in the wind.
Oh, absolutely.
And sagging.
Absolutely.
So I have to keep going. I mean, I still, every morning, I don't enjoy it. I have to make myself get up and do it because I don't want to. But
right.
I know I have to. Otherwise, I wake up sore. I'm only 56, but I wake up sore from sleeping.
Right.
It's crazy. But,
well, they call muscle the organ of longevity. So if your muscle if you're not making your muscle stronger or doing something about your muscle, then you're not going to live a longer, healthier life. I mean, you might live a long time, but you're not going to be enjoying life very much.
You'd be jello, man. Yeah.
Potentially.
So in terms of what you do with your new clinic, is this something that anybody at any age should or could do, or is there a certain age group that you're targeting, or can say a teenager?
It's a fabulous question. I think the situation, it depends on the situation, right? So typically hormone replacement, you're looking at, I used to be able to say, when you're 50 years old, then you need to be looking at your testosterone levels. And then after a while, it was like, oh, wait. And this is going by quick, too, the time. And then I was like, oh, wait, it's 40 years old. Because your testosterone levels can drop significantly from the 40 on up. And now it's crazy. I've been doing a little bit of fertility medicine, and I've seen men that have come in younger than 30, like in their mid-20s, that should have a testosterone level of at least 600. And they're coming in with testosterone levels of less than 300. 200 and whatever. Sometimes
is this an average or just random?
This is, what? I almost want to say that it is. I almost want to say that it is on average, but I see it fairly regularly in my clinic.
What's the reasoning? Is it just a random genetic issue with that person, or is there some?
Well, the belief is that it's actually bigger, that a lot of it has to do with their food. A lot of the food that we eat is more processed, and I feel like this is being a little bit more addressed now in the government level. But I think a lot of our foods are just not good. I mean, that's why they call it the the SAD diet, right? The standard American diet.
Yeah, the food pyramid that was apparently sold to all us when you and I were in school.
Right.
This is the way you do it. All these things, and then that's been proven a sham by food companies or something. Yeah,
exactly.
Follow the money on everything.
Yeah,
life is a conspiracy theory, right?
Right. So they're saying that a lot of it has to do with that, and then also our environmental exposures, things that we're just exposed to every day. Now, can genetics play a part? Absolutely. But I think that a lot of that is inherited. I mean, inherited, same thing, right? But yeah, genetics, but that's because our parents were, not that it was carried on necessarily from their parents, but it could be something that they experienced that changed their DNA, like through what their foods that they ate, and their environmental exposures, and things that have changed their DNA to then cause potential issues in their children. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's definitely something that can lead to ongoing issues. And we're seeing more and more fertility issues on the male side because of it. We're seeing these low testosterone levels. And that's part of why I've gotten into the practice that I'm doing now. I want to address that. I think it's huge that we make a difference. There's other benefits, right, from testosterone. Yeah, you can get a little bit of extra muscle growth, which is important. You need to have that extra muscle for the longevity and the health. But it also helps with the sexual side, help with libido and sexual function that way, erectile dysfunction. But then you're also looking at fertility, increasing fertility. Now, back to your original question about age. So, on average, I'm seeing men and women in their 30s on up. Usually not so much in the younger crowd for the hormonal side of things, but definitely on the weight loss. I mean, obviously because of this diet that we follow, we're seeing more and more obesity. And these GLP-1s and there's other options out there to help get on top of that. I mean, yeah, we always tell people, oh, you need to get on this diet or that diet, and, you need to exercise. But how easy is that? How many times have we tried to be on this diet or that diet? I myself have probably tried half a dozen different diets.
Food discipline is a whole nother animal.
Absolutely.
And that's hard. It's probably the hardest thing. I tried counting macros for a few months, and
right.
I got it took me forever to eat because I had to weigh everything, and I did it long enough that I could feel when I had had enough. And then because like the feeling of being full just makes me feel gross now. Whereas before I would just eat until I was stuffed at every meal.
Right.
So, but that's hard.
And then you have that little extra bite that's sitting there on the table, and you feel obligated.
Yeah, I don't want to waste that.
Yeah.
That scarcity mindset that I was raised with.
Right. That's a whole other topic.
It sticks with you, yeah.
We're all taught that.
Yeah, my kids eat fruit. I can't. Well, I guess I got to eat that.
Yeah. Hey, there's people starving in China or India or wherever. Yeah. And we used to say, well, send it to them. I don't know. Since we're, insurance runs the world, with this kind of stuff, I assume you don't does insurance cover any kind of this preventative? Because this to me is preventative, and you'd think they would be all over this because it's a lot less costly than when someone's health goes south. Yeah, you would like to think and hope and that insurance would, do what it should in helping to cover these kind of things. And unfortunately, it does not do what we would like it to do. In fact, I'm preparing a letter right now to, what's his name? Kennedy.
Oh, yeah. Robert.
Yeah. Robert Kennedy. It seems like he may make a difference. I don't know if he will or not, but I'm putting together a letter to address that exact issue. A lot of times we like to see these different labs on patients, and insurance will pay for a lot of labs that we can get done yearly. Our complete blood cell count, our metabolic panel, cholesterol levels, hemoglobin A1Cs, So these are your typical standard labs that you would get yearly. And yeah, your insurance will pay for that preventatively. But anything above and beyond that, typically your insurance won't pay for it. And so if you have a high deductible plan, you're going to be stuck with a huge bill potentially. I mean, we're talking 1,000 plus. I just had this happen to me not too long ago where I had just a few different labs done, a few hormone labs done, using a local pharmacy and using my insurance. And I ended up owing close to $1,500. It was crazy. Now, I can do these same labs in my clinic at a fraction of the cost. I probably could have done those very same labs for maybe $100.
So it goes to show you the markups.
Right. But now, will that count towards your deductible? No, unfortunately it won't. Really, in my opinion, those high deductible plans are, it's better to go higher. This is a different subject, obviously, but I would say that to go high deductible, pay a low premium, in case of something bad happening, catastrophic, right? Then you have that available to you. But then you're not paying as much for that insurance. So have it available, have it there, but then use a health savings account, which is awesome. And you can write that off in your taxes at the end of the year.
Right.
And that's something I do accept. I accept health savings accounts and obviously cash pay.
That's like health savings account is almost like cash, right?
Exactly.
In essence for you.
Exactly.
So people can still buy health stuff. They can still buy healthcare. It's just like I hear all these stories that we don't have right access to healthcare. I mean, yeah, you do. They'll sell it. You can buy insurance anywhere.
Right.
It's just going to cost you regardless.
Exactly.
But now it's just like, hey, you have the privilege to pay, so you can pay. It's a great system. Love it.
And then say you go to your medical doctor, right? How long of a visit do you typically have?
Oh, it's 30 minutes, maybe at the most.
At the most, right?
Yeah.
And they're not gonna sit there and ask you your whole, what everything's going on with you and how your day was, that
because they don't have time. They have probably a quota.
Exactly.
For insurance, because insurance runs everything.
That's exactly right. And that's what I like about what I do. I like being able to have the time to sit there and discuss things, come up with a plan that's mutually beneficial to the patient. I know that's what I would want. I would want to be able to feel like I'm heard.
Yeah, none of us want to feel like a rat in a machine, in a mill. Just, next.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely avoid the insurance. I mean, if somebody wants to take a lab order to go get their insurance to cover whatever they're going to cover, then yeah, I'll do that. Beyond that, I may do a super bill, which you can see if your insurance will potentially cover any part of the visit. But it's been my experience that that's a hard sell.
What's their reasoning? What do they say when you ask them why they won't cover certain things like this? It seems like a no-brainer if this is going to cost them less, or does it not cost them less? You're
asking a question I don't really know the answer to. I don't know. They just don't. I don't even know how to answer that question.
Do your best. Guess this isn't scientific fact here.
So my guess is that they won't cover things which they consider, actually, I think it's all about the pharmaceuticals. I mean, I think it's about big pharma and the money. I think that's the bottom line. Because when you start delving into these other things, they can't make money off of them. Hormones in general. You can get synthetic testosterone, which they're doing okay with covering. If you decide you want to go get, injections, testosterone injections, you can get some coverage on insurance. But if you're looking at doing something that's more bioidentical, closer to what your body's already naturally making, then they don't cover that. They won't cover a cent of it. And I think it's because of the money they get from it. That's my own personal opinion.
Yeah, no, it's okay. You can have your own theories and opinions about it.
Yeah.
What haven't I asked you about what you do in this field that you want to share with people listening, and how how they can, or if let me back up. What's like a candidate for someone that would potentially need this? What you do, like the symptoms, or hey, it's someone who has this, and this, or feeling like this, and then you can.
That's a great question. So a lot of the symptoms that you typically would see with anybody would be fatigue or low energy, weight gain, or belly fat, mood swings of any kind, anxiety or depression, low libido or sexual dysfunction, brain fog or memory issues, muscle loss or poor recovery. More often than not, you will see with women that are going through perimenopause or menopause, would be the hot flashes or night sweats or poor, just sleeping cruddy. A lot of these are the typical symptoms that you'll see with anybody that's going through a hormonal imbalance. So that would be kind of the biggest thing. So you would see, as far as like age groups, you may see obviously low testosterone levels in guys somewhere around in their 30s, young 30s on up. That can affect their muscle loss, causing muscle loss, weight gain, a lot of these similar symptoms, erectile issues. And then with women, as they get closer and closer towards menopause, they're going to start experiencing these hot flushes and mood changes, anxiety, all these symptoms we just mentioned, and they're just become worse and worse as time goes on. And unless we get to the root cause of them, it's not going to be fixed, with a simple medication. I was to blame for this as well, where, in the past, somebody would come in and go, yeah, it looks like you have depression. Let's give you a medication. Here's your whatever medication, your Zoloft or your Prozac or whatever. And really, that may not even be the problem. The problem may be something more basic, that your hormones are imbalanced. And if we just balance those hormones out, give you a little testosterone, you might sleep better. Get your cortisol levels where they need to be. Help decrease stress. There's so many different aspects to this.
Just a healthier lifestyle, so your body can create them on their own, like it's supposed to. Right?
Exactly. Now, one of the questions I do get often asked: how long do I need to be on these hormones? And I wish it was a simple. Well, it is simple. It's for as long as you want to feel good. So these hormones they're bioidentical. They're natural to what your body's already naturally making. Your body's never going to get it may increase a little bit if you say your testosterone levels. You may be able to increase those naturally just by regular exercise, weight loss, eating better, whatever those things are. It could definitely get them up, but you're never going to get up to an optimal level where you're feeling great all the time. And it's just going to continue to go down as you get older.
Because we're dying. All of us are dying.
Right. Right. And so what do we do to fix that? Well, you can get on these hormones, like testosterone, or in women's case, it would be estrogen or progesterone, estradiol. We use estradiol. It's more natural. And you get these levels up to good levels, and you continue them for as long as you want. You could be 90 plus years old and still be on hormones. It's not going to increase your risk of cancer. In fact, if anything, it's going to help decrease the risk of cancer. A lot of the more recent research studies are showing that it decreases the chances. I feel like I'm going all over the place.
No, you're not. No, I get it. I'm following it, and that's saying a lot for me.
Okay. So I feel like it's one of those things that people can be on these forever. And if you want to stop them, absolutely, your level's going to drop, right? They're going to drop down to 0 initially. But your body's going to naturally pick up and go back to wherever it would have been before. So it does not completely wipe out your body's ability to make it. It's just going to drop it initially because you've been on something.
It's gotten lazy, so it's going to have to relearn it a little bit.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so It's going to go back to wherever it was before, where it would have been at that time anyway.
Okay.
I see that a lot where people come off their hormones, testosterone, let's say, and not too long thereafter, they're back in getting their testosterone again because they don't like the way they feel.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a good indicator.
Yeah.
Feel like crap, fix it. Don't feel like crap, don't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do people find you? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Well, right now I have my phone number. It's 801-874-1989. You can call me directly, leave a message there, or you can go to my website and you can even schedule there. It's revivehormonehealth.com. I'm located right now in Provo at 3549 North University Avenue, and that's in Suite 120 in Jamestown Square. And so that's where I'm at right now.
That's where you are. Well, thank you, sir. This has been eye-opening.
Thank you.
So if anyone's out there listening and you're feeling like poo, this might be for you. Oh, I just made a rhyme. So, Chris Williams, the founder of Revive Hormone Health. Thank you again, sir, for being on the show, and let's get you all well.
Thank you again for listening to The Parish the Thought Show. We know you have many podcast options and appreciate that you have chosen us. If you love what you hear, please give us a rating on whatever platform you find us. And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. If you hate what you hear, only tell us. You're still here? Click on the next episode for more from The Parish the Thought Show.